The twin suns hung low over the alien marketplace, painting everything in gold and red. Voices shouted in different alien tongues, and the smell of spices, oil, and hot metals filled the air. The market was loud, alive, and always moving, except for one small corner. There, by a cracked pillar and rusted vendor stall, sat a figure that didn't belong. She was small, wrapped in a dusty brown cloak, too big for her thin body. Her gray-blue skin was dry, and her glowing eyes looked tired. Most walked past her without a glance. Others looked at her and quickly looked away like she was cursed. She hadn't moved in hours. Nobody knew her name. Nobody cared. To them, she was just the orphan. Some aliens whispered stories, that she was from the Atsara once-proud race that nearly died out, that she had no family, no scent to attract a mate, useless, broken. Others said she was dangerous, cursed by her dead bloodline. And so, no one helped her until a human arrived. Jacob Voss had been to many alien markets in his time. He was a cargo runner, a trader, and sometimes a little bit of a troublemaker. But today, he was just tired and hungry. He walked through the market, checking prices, haggling, and tasting odd fruits. But as he turned a corner, something stopped him. It was her. She didn't speak, didn't move. But something about her made him stop. Maybe it was her eyes. They looked hollow, yet bright. Like someone still waiting for something good to happen, even after all the bad. She looked up at him and flinched. Jacob raised both hands to show he meant no harm. "Easy. I'm just passing by," he said softly. "You okay?" No answer. He looked down and noticed her hands were shaking. She was starving, cold, maybe sick, or all three. He reached into his satchel and pulled out a wrapped food bar. Wasn't much, but it was warm. He knelt and gently placed it near her. "Here," he said. "No one should go hungry." She looked at it and at him. Her fingers moved slowly, like she was afraid the food would vanish. She took it and bit. Tears formed in her eyes, but she didn't cry. She just ate silently, as if scared someone might take it away. A nearby alien vendor hissed, "Don't feed that thing, human." Jacob looked up. "She's just a girl. She's not just anything," the vendor spat. "She's Atsara, and a broken one. No family. No scent, no bond, no use." Jacob frowned. "She's still alive. That's reason enough." The vendor shook his head and walked off. Others gave Jacob the same looks, disgusted or worried. But Jacob stayed. The girl finished the bar and held the wrapper carefully, like it was made of gold. She looked at Jacob again, longer this time. Then, slowly, she did something strange. She leaned forward, eyed, and inhaled near his neck. Jacob blinked. What are you doing?" Her eyes widened in panic, and she turned her head away. It was like she had done something wrong. It's very wrong. Jacob didn't understand. But when he stood to leave, her hand shot out and grabbed his wrist. Not hard, but firm, desperate. He looked at her hand, then at her. "Do you want to come with me?" he asked gently. She didn't speak. Yeah, but she nodded just once. And that's when everything changed. Suddenly, two tall lizard-like guards stepped forward, their armor flashing. One of them pointed at Jacob. "Step away from the girl, human." Jacob stood still. "What's going on?" "She's marked you." The second guard growled. "That scent bond was not accidental." "Scent bond." "What scent bond?" Jacob asked, confused. "She inhaled your pheromone." And her body responded. "She's chosen you." Jacob laughed nervously. "I didn't agree to anything. I just gave." "Her food." The first guard narrowed his eyes. "Then you don't understand what you've done. Among the Atsara, scent bonding is sacred. Even broken ones still carry instincts." Jacob looked down at the girl. She was hiding her face now, trembling. "What happens if I walk away?" he asked. The guards looked at each other. "If you walk away now, her body may shut down. The bond has begun. Breaking it could kill her." Jacob's heart pounded. He hadn't signed up for this. He was just trying to help a hungry girl. But now, he was tied to her, and he had no idea what came next. The moment Jacob stepped into the docking bay with the alien girl behind him. Every conversation in the room stopped. Silence, not just quiet, fearful silence. A group of armored merchants stared. A translator drone froze mid-flight. Even the cleaning bot paused its sweeping. All eyes fell on the small figure following Jacob like a shadow. "She's at Sarah," someone whispered. "But she's not glowing. Why is she with a human?" Didn't understand the fear in their eyes. He had only meant to help her. But now, walking into this neutral station with her at his side, felt like he was dragging a ticking bomb into a powder room. She walked just behind him, head low, hands gripping the loose edge of his jacket. She had barely spoken since they left the market. He turned to her and said softly, "Do you have a name?" She hesitated. "Zhari," she whispered. He nodded. "'Kay, Zari, let's get you cleaned up and fed." But just as they reached his cargo room, a loud clang echoed down the corridor. A giant alien blocked their path. Tall, armored, and with scales the color of burned copper. The creature stepped forward and growled, "You're the human who took the broken at Sarah," it said, voice like grinding stone. Jacob stepped in front of Zari. "I helped a starving girl." "What's the problem?" The creature's eyes narrowed. "You don't understand what she did to you?" "I gave her a snack," Jacob said, half annoyed, half nervous. "You let her smell you," the creature said. "Let her scent lock her." Biology reacted. "You were marked." Jacob shook his head. "I didn't agree to any mark you don't get to agree. That's not how their instinct works." Zari's voice trembled behind him. He didn't know, just wanted to. "Remember his warmth?" the copper alien continued. "Asara females who are rejected after a bond begins do not survive. Their bodies collapse from the inside. They break." Jacob blinked. Wait. So if I leave her, she will die. And you will be hunted by the clanless, by law and by instinct." Jacob looked back at Zari. She looked so fragile, but there was a strange shimmer in her skin now, faint glow under the surface. "What is this glow thing?" he asked. The alien grunted. "It means the bond is starting. Her body is sinking to yours." Heartbeat, scent, chemical balance. Jacob sighed. "So you're telling me giving her one meal accidentally signed me up as her mate?" Exactly her. Eyes begged him not to leave. "I didn't mean to do this," he said quietly. "I'm just human. Our ways are different." Zari nodded, trembling. "I understand. You may leave. I'll return to the dust." The way she said it broke something in him. He remembered her curled up in the cold dirt. The way she had eaten that food like it was her last breath. "I'm not abandoning anyone," Jacob finally said. "ZHR," I gasped. You'll stay." He nodded slowly. "But we're going to figure this out, together." The copper-scaled alien gave a grunt of respect and stepped aside. But just as Jacob reached the door to his room, a message blinked on the terminal wall. "Human Jacob Voss. You are requested by the Otsera consular. Bring the female. Trial of bonding will commence." Zari's face turned pale. "The trial," she whispered. Jacob's stomach sank. "What trial?" he asked. Shara looked up at him, tears forming in her glowing eyes. "If they find us mismatched, they'll end the bond," she said, her voice shaking. Jacob felt a chill crawl down his spine. "And what happens if the bond ends?" Zari closed her eyes. "I'll die," she said. The sandstorm hit without warning. Blinding red winds screamed across the barren plains of Outpost Silent, tearing down tarps, shaking ships, and forcing even the bravest traders into shelter. Visibility dropped to zero. The sun vanished behind. A wall of swirling dust. Inside his small desert tent, Jacob sat cross-legged. A dim heater flickering beside him, its blue flame dancing in the shadows. He held a mug of bitter tea, trying to block out the sound of the storm. But it wasn't the storm outside that troubled him. It was the silence behind him. He turned. Zari was standing in the corner of the tent, quiet, barefoot, soaked in red sand. Her long cloak clung to her skin, and her shoulders trembled. Jacob stood quickly. "Zari, what are you doing out in this storm?" "I didn't want to be a burden," she whispered. "But the outer camp won't let me stay." They smelled the bond. Jacob cursed under his breath. Of course they did. Atsera sent bonds weren't just emotionally, they were physical. Once it began, others of her kind would either accept or reject her hand. Rejection from outsiders could be deadly. "You should have come in sooner," Jacob said. "You could have died out there." She nodded slowly. "I know, but ... I had to be sure you wouldn't chase me out too." He handed her a dry blanket. "You're not going anywhere." She took it with shaking hands and wrapped it around herself, but Jacob noticed something strange. Her body was warmer, much warmer. He gently touched her forehead. "You're burning up." Zari looked away. "It's part of the change. My body is reacting. Sinking. It's normal for an Atsera. Bond start. But without proper care, I could go feral." Jacob blinked. "Feral." She nodded. "If the bond begins, but isn't accepted fully, the female's instincts override her mind. She loses herself, becomes ... something else." Jacob sat down. Unsure what to say, Zari quietly lowered herself to the floor opposite him. The storm howled outside, but in the tent, there was only the soft sound of her breathing. Then she did something unexpected. She slid closer. Just a little, then a little more. Jacob cleared his throat. You okay?" Zari looked at him, her glowing eyes softer now. "I need ... contact. Even simple closeness can stop the fever. I promise not to cross any lines." He hesitated, then nodded. She gently rested her head against his shoulder. Her skin was almost too warm, like someone recovering from a long illness. Her fingers curled around the edge of his sleeve like a child clinging to safety. "I don't want to go feral," she whispered. "I don't want to die. You were the first one to be kind to me. I'll never forget that." Jacob said nothing, but he didn't move away either. Hours passed. She stayed curled beside him, her breathing evening out, the glow on her skin calming. But just before dawn, something happened. Jacob woke with a jolt. Something was pressing against his chest. It was Zari. Her body had shifted in the night, now straddling his lap. Head tucked against his neck, arms wrapped tightly around him. Her skin shimmered faintly in the soft heater light. But what caught his attention was her heartbeat, loud, rapid ... And in sync with his own, he gently touched her back. "Zari," she stirred, blinking up at him slowly. Her cheeks flushed a deeper blue. "I'm sorry," she said quickly, backing away. "I didn't mean to." My body moved on its own. Instinct. I didn't do it on purpose. Jacob rubbed his face. "It's okay." Surprising. But before he could say more, the tent flap burst open and 2 armored medrones stepped inside. Human Jacob Voss, the lead drone, said, "You and the bonded Atsera female are to be transported to the trial hall immediately." Zari froze. "The trial? It's too soon. My body hasn't stabilized." Jacob stood in front of her. "Can't this wait? She's not ready."
"Adi."
Drone's eyes blinked red. "Delay may result in fatal degeneration. The trial must begin now." Zari looked up at Jacob. Her face was pale, eyes wide with fear. "If they examine my body right now," she whispered, "they'll see what happened overnight. They'll know the bond has already begun final phase." Jacob's stomach dropped. "What does that mean?" She looked away. "It means they'll assume we've already made it, even if we haven't, and they'll judge both of us. ... As if we did. The trial chamber was carved into the side of a glowing cliff, where strange crystal veins pulsed beneath the stone. It was quiet, too. Quiet except for the soft hum of ceremonial lights above the arena floor. Jacob stood in the center, unarmed. Alone Jacha sat behind him, wrapped in a ceremonial robe of thin threads and silken cloth. Her face was calm, but her hands trembled in her lap. The circular room held dozens of Atsura warriors, elders, even healers. All of them seated above, looking down like judges from another world. A voice boomed across the chamber. "Human Jacob. Voss, you are accused of receiving the bond sent from a royal-blooded Atsura orphan, and not declaring intent to mate. Do you deny this?" Jacob raised his voice. "I gave her food, that's all. She was starving." Laughter echoed among the crowd, cold, mocking. "She inhaled your scent," an elder hissed, her long horns twitching. "Her body changed, her glow awakened. She marked you." Jacob pointed at Zari. "I didn't know your laws. Where I come from, we don't have scent bonds or mating signals. We just help people when they need it." The High Elder rose. His skin was covered in golden lines. His voice was sharp as a blade. "Then you are guilty of ignorant bonding, a crime of dangerous kindness." Jacob clenched his jaw. "How is kindness a crime?" The elder stepped forward. "Because her biology has now linked to yours. Her heart rate, her heat, her glow. The bond is in stage 2. If left incomplete, she will descend into fever, madness, or death." Zari looked up, tears forming. "Please, I didn't mean to break the law." But the elder held up his hand. "Your body speaks louder than your mouth, child." Another elder stood, a female with deep violet skin. "We scanned her before you entered. Her bonding hormones are activated. Her skin shows signs of scent imprinting. Her core temperature rose during the storm." The room went still. Jacob's heart dropped. "Wait, what are you saying?" Zari covered her face. The elder turned to him. "We are saying that the orphan began the final phase of bonding. Her body believes you have mated." More gasps echoed around the chamber. Jacob looked to Zari. "We didn't, I know," she whispered. The violet-skinned elder continued. "Whether it happened or not, doesn't matter. Her body thinks it did. And now it demands the final seal." Jacob frowned. "What seal?" The High Elder raised a glowing stone. "The flesh bond. Once placed on her skin, it marks the mate as accepted. If the male refuses, she will reject all future bonds, and her body will tear itself apart." Zari's voice broke. "Don't force him." The elders didn't listen. "Jacob Voss, do you accept this bond, as begun by the ancient law of scent and glow?" Jacob stepped back. "I didn't come here to be forced into some alien ritual. I was just trying to save someone." Suddenly, a flash of red light sparked near the chamber edge. The guards raised their staffs. A tall female warrior stepped forward her. Armor cracked, but her voice strong. "She was mine to take, before you fed her," she growled. "Now I challenge the human for the right of final bond." Jacob turned. "Wait, what?" The warrior pointed her blade toward Zari. "She carries royal scent. She was never broken. She was hidden. She belongs to the crown." Whispers swept across the hall. "She's a princess?" Zari lowered her head. "My parents died in the purge. I was smuggled out to live as an orphan." Jacob stared. "You're saying?" "I bonded with a princess?" The warrior smirked. "You're no prince. Step aside, human. I'll finish the bond." Jacob looked at Zari. Her lips trembled. She didn't speak, but her eyes. They begged him not to let go. The High Elder raised his hand again. "The challenge is accepted. The warrior may claim the female lift, the human yields. If not, the bond must be completed now by him, or never." Jacob took a step forward, his voice low but clear. "I didn't ask for any of this," he said, "but I'm not leaving her to die. Or be claimed like property." Zari gasped. He looked into her eyes. "If she wants me to walk away, I will. But if she still wants me by her side, then I'll take that stone." The chamber fell silent. Cher stood and whispered, "I choose the human." The bond stone glowed bright against Zari's skin, and just like that, everything changed. Jacob could feel it, the warmth between them, the strange connection. It wasn't just emotion, it was physical, instinctive, ancient. But before he could speak, the High Elder stepped forward with a bow so deep it shocked the entire chamber. "Your Highness," the Elder said softly. Jacob blinked. What did he just say? He looked to Zari, who froze like ice. Her eyes widened. Her lips parted, but no words came out. The Elder bowed again. I had to be sure. The glow, the bond. The mark of the first bloodline. You're the daughter of Queen Isvera, hidden from death, saved from the purge. Jacob turned to Zari. "Your royalty." Zari's voice trembled. "I didn't remember at first. I was too young when my parents were murdered. A guardian took me away, erased my markings, hid my scent. I've lived alone for so long, I forgot who I was." The violet-skinned Elder spoke again. "Only a true-blood Osera glows with that color under bond. Only a queen's child could awaken the ancestral fire." Suddenly, dozens of the elders and warriors kneeled. Zari stepped back. "No, please don't kneel. I'm not a queen. You are what your blood says you are," said the High Elder. "And now, the one you bonded with becomes consort by law." Jacob's heart skipped. Whoa, hold on, what? "The royal bond is sacred," the Elder continued. "Your scent was accepted by her. Your heat triggered her change. Your presence now completes her power. Whether you like it or not, you are part of the throne." Jacob laughed nervously. "I fix broken cargo doors and eat protein bars for dinner. I'm no king." But the Elder's voice turned grave. "Then prepare yourself, 'cause someone else wants to wear the crown and they know she still lives." A cold silence followed. Zari's glow dimmed. Her voice was soft. "Mean they're coming for me?" "Yes," the Elder said. "The purge never ended. It only paused. The warlords who murdered your parents, they will not rest until you are gone forever." Jacob stepped in front of her. "Then they'll have to come through me first." At night, back in the small hidden chamber the Elders gave them, Jacob paced while Zari sat quietly on a floor cushion. The stone mark still shimmered faintly on her collarbone. "I didn't want you involved in this," she said quietly. Jacob turned. "You didn't choose this either." "But now that I'm here, I'm not going anywhere." Zari looked at him, her eyes glossy. "I was ready to die in that market stall, cold, alone. But then you gave me food, warmth, a voice. And now, my blood remembers who I was." She took his hand. "But you reminded me who I could still become." Jacob chuckled. "Great royal drama, assassins, glowing marks, and some kind of mating magic I still don't understand. What's next?" Before Zari could answer, the door behind them hissed open. A young Otsera guard stepped in, pale and out of breath. "Forgive me, Your Highness, but we found something." Crashed probe near the edge of the outpost. Zari stood. So. The guard swallowed. "It's broadcasting a hunter's beacon. Someone is tracking your blood scent. And there. Already here." Jacob stepped closer. "How close?" The guard looked at him. "Close enough that they left a warning carved in stone outside your shelter." Jacob and Zari followed him out, through the crystal tunnels, near the wall. Lit by glowing minerals, someone had etched a message in jagged alien symbols. "Zers. Breath caught." "What does it say?" Jacob asked. She translated, voice shaking. "The orphan queen has been found. One sun cycle left. Surrender, or be taken." Jacob looked at her. "Then we're not running. We prepare." Zari's glow brightened. For once, she said softly, "I don't want to run either." It began with silence. No alarms. No flashing lights. No warning. Just the eerie silence of an empty hall, followed by a single pulse of red light. Jacob had just stepped into the storage chamber to grab water packs when the power flickered. The next second, boom. The walls shook as an explosion rocked the upper level of the cliff palace. Smoke filled the tunnels. Cries echoed down the halls. He dropped the packs and ran. Zahura was already up when he burst into their room. Her skin was glowing again, but this time, not from warmth or bonding, it was from panic. "They found us," she whispered. "The warlords' hunters, they're here." Before Jacob could respond, Part of the ceiling cracked and a black metal claw punched through it. A mechanical drone, shaped like a giant spider, dropped into the room. Its many eyes glowed red. "Run," Zari shouted. Jacob grabbed her hand and sprinted toward the tunnel exit. Behind them, the spider drone screeched and leapt after them. Smashing walls and scattering stone, they burst into the open canyons. Narrow, winding paths between towering cliffs painted with alien moss and crystal. The twin suns were setting fast, turning the sky orange and violet. Zari stumbled. Jacob caught her. "You okay?" She nodded. "My energy's building. Too fast. The Bondit's waking something inside me." He looked at her. "You said your people had royal powers." "What kind of powers?" She looked away. "The kind that made them want me dead." Suddenly, a laser shot scorched the rock beside Jacob's face. "They're tracking us by scent," he shouted. Shara turned her, eyes now glowing a fierce gold. "Then let them try to follow." She grabbed a shard of crystal from the canyon wall and slashed it against her own arm. A thin drop of her glowing blood hit the ground and instantly hissed into vapor. Within seconds, thick mist began to rise around them. The air shimmered. The wind shifted. Jacob blinked. "What is this?" "A scent veil," she said. "Only Atsara royalty can create it. It'll buy us time."
Nice.
They kept running. Behind them, the hunters yelled in frustration, but the canyon paths twisted, some barely wide enough for a man to squeeze through. The mist hid their footprints. The trail disappeared. They finally stopped at a small cave carved into the rock. Jacob helped her inside and lit a soft plasma light. Zari collapsed beside him, breathing hard. Jacob checked her arm. "That cut, it's fine," she said. "My body heals fast now." He stared at her. "Zari, what exactly is happening to you?" She looked up, her voice low. "My mother's bloodline carried a gift, control over light and scent. It's passed only through the daughters. But bonding activates it. My body is preparing for something." Jacob frowned. "For what?" she whispered. "To protect the next generation of Atsara. That's why they fear me." He froze. "You mean they want to stop your bloodline?" Nodded. "Forever? And now that I've bonded, they'll stop at nothing." Jacob stood. His eyes were hard now. "Then we fight." Zari reached out and touched his hand. "You're not even one of us. Why do you keep risking everything?" "For me?" He looked down at her, his voice soft. "Because when I found you, you were more human than most people I've ever known. And I don't abandon people I care about." Her eyes filled with tears. But before she could speak, a voice echoed through. The canyon dark, mechanical, and cruel. "You can't hide, Orphan Queen. When the second sun rises, your bondmate will be ash, and your womb will be harvested." Jacob's fists clenched. "I've had enough of this." Zari stood beside him. Her eyes burned like fire now. "Then we end it." And in that quiet cave, as the wind howled outside, something awakened inside her, something older than her bloodline, bound and far more dangerous. The second sun rose, blood red and heavy over the canyon horizon. Its light hit the ancient Atsara temple like a spotlight, making the crystal walls glow like fire. The air was still, thick with dust and danger. Far in the distance, machines hummed and war banners swayed in the wind. Inside the temple, Jacob stood beside Zari at the center of a cracked ceremonial platform. Around them were the last loyal elders, kneeling in silence. Most of the royal guard had been killed in the attack. Zari's eyes were closed. She wasn't praying, she was remembering. Her mother's face now only a fading echo. The night she was smuggled out of the burning palace, the day the other girls laughed and spat on her in the market, and the moment a human stranger gave her a warm food bar and unknowingly brought her back to life. She opened her eyes. The fire in them could melt. "Stone, I was never meant to be a queen," she whispered. Jacob glanced at her. "You sure about that? Because you're glowing like one." She smiled faintly. "I'm only glowing because of you. The bond didn't just save MIT, completed me. A booming voice interrupted the moment. Enough delay, traitors. Warlord stepped onto the temple floor, 7 feet tall, half flesh, half machine. His metal arms bore the sigils of rebellion. His eyes glowed red with hatred. Behind him marched a dozen assassins and drones. You, the warlord, pointed. Zari will surrender. And you, he turned to Jacob, will be peeled apart for stealing what does not belong to you. Jacob stepped forward, weaponless. I didn't steal anything. She chose me. The warlord laughed. She is a thing. A womb with blood. We need nothing more? Zari's body trembled. Not with fear. With fury. She stepped forward. Removing her cloak, her skin now shimmered with lines of golden light, like veins of power waking beneath her flesh. Her voice echoed as she spoke, twisted. With an ancient tone, I am Zari, daughter of Isvara, keeper of the flame. You see me now not as a thing, but as your end. The warlord raised his arm. Kill her. The assassins moved. Jacob grabbed a fallen staff from the ground and charged. He fought like a wild flame, no training, just instinct and fury. Zari stayed close behind, her hands glowing as she raised a pulse barrier around the elders. One of the drones lunged. Shirai turned on to release a beam of pure light from her palms. It tore through the metal, turning it to ash. Another drone exploded from the pressure of her voice. Alone, Jacob grinned. Remind me never to make you mad. The warlord howled and leaped toward them. Jacob moved to block, but Zari stepped forward. No, she said. This one is mine. Her power erupted in waves. The floor cracked beneath her feet. Wind swirled inside the temple. Sky darkened and stove. And then she vanished. Only light remained. She reappeared behind the warlord, palm glowing, and touched the base of his metal spine. His entire body froze. His voice choked. My blood doesn't belong to you, she whispered. With a single push, she shattered the power core inside him. He crumbled metal and hate dying in silence. It was over. The war chants stopped. Resurfaces fled. The rebels dropped their weapons and bowed. Jacob walked to her slowly. She turned, skin dimming back to normal, and reached for him. But before their hands touched, she collapsed. Zari, he shouted, catching her in his arms. She looked up at him, weak but smiling. The bond held, but it took everything. He held her close. You can rest now. It's over. She touched his face. No, it's just beginning. In the days that followed, the Atsera crowned their Queen Zari of the Flame, bonded to the human. Some protested, others cheered, but none could deny what they had witnessed. She didn't rule from a throne of gold. She ruled beside the man who first gave her hope, and every time someone asked how a forgotten orphan became the savior of her people, she would smile and say, because one human chose to see me, and no one else would.